First to the plane tragedy in India, where 241 people died, but one man aboard miraculously survived.
This was supposed to be a routine flight, one of thousands in the skies every day, but something went wrong. An Air India Dreamliner, soaring over Ahmedabad, never made it to its destination. Within seconds of takeoff, the unimaginable happened.
An Air India flight bound for London's Gatwick Airport has crashed moments after takeoff from the Indian city of Ahmedabad.
A crash that no one expected, yet somehow one man survived.
One passenger on board the Air India flight survived, incredibly.
Was it fate or something more mysterious at play?
I can't explain. Everything happened in my eye. I can't.
Theories have already started to surface. Was it a bird strike, a technical fault, or perhaps a deeper, more sinister truth? Today we dive into the crash, the unanswered questions, and the chilling survival story of Ramesh Kumar. The flight that never reached the sky. The Air India flight from Ahmedabad was a routine modern Boeing 787 Dreamliner, an aircraft regarded as one of the safest in the sky. On board was a mix of passengers, including Ramesh Kumar, who was traveling back to London after visiting his family in India. It was a clear day, and the takeoff seemed uneventful. But just 30 seconds into the flight, disaster struck. The plane, still climbing, suddenly lost thrust, struggling to stay in the air. Something wasn't right. Ramesh remembers hearing a loud noise, a sound that marked the beginning of a nightmare. The plane began to fall, and within moments, it crashed. The cause? That remains unknown. Aviation experts have weighed in with theories, but no one can say for certain why the plane went down. What's clear, however, is that the crash was sudden and violent, and against all odds, Ramesh Kumar survived. How did he make it out alive? The answer is still a mystery, one that only the investigation will unravel. A sound in the sky. Ramesh Kumar's account of the crash remains one of the most crucial pieces of this puzzle. The British citizen who had been visiting family in India was seated in 11A next to his brother. As the plane ascended, everything seemed calm. That was until about 30 seconds after takeoff when Ramesh heard a loud noise. It wasn't the usual sounds of an aircraft cruising. No, this was different. An unusual, alarming sound that filled the cabin. Was it one engine failing or both? The exact cause remains unclear. His memory of those moments is clouded. As he struggled to comprehend what was happening, he says he was unaware of the gravity of the situation. Within moments, the plane began to lose altitude. Yet Ramesh's survival, against all odds, has been described as miraculous. According to medical professionals, he wasn't critically injured, which defies the nature of the crash. What made him the only person to survive? Was it sheer luck or something beyond explanation? We may never truly know. Bird strike or something else? As the investigation into the crash unfolds, one theory that keeps resurfacing is the possibility of a bird strike. Neil Hasford, an experienced pilot, suggested that bird strikes are a frequent occurrence near Ahmedabad Airport. The theory raises the chilling question, could a bird strike have caused both engines to fail? While it's rare for such an event to bring down a plane, it's not unheard of. In 2009, a U.S. Airways flight famously lost both engines after striking a flock of geese, forcing the pilot to land in the Hudson River. Could the Ahmedabad crash have been the same? However, Ramesh's account raises doubts. He mentions hearing just one loud noise, which would be unusual if both engines had failed. Aviation experts believe that if both engines had stopped, there would likely have been two distinct sounds. So while bird strikes do occur, could there be another, more complex cause behind the crash? The investigation into this theory is ongoing, and what comes to light could change everything we know about aviation safety. The age of the aircraft. Despite being hailed as a modern marvel, the Air India Dreamliner involved in the Ahmedabad crash was not as young as it seemed. At 11 years old, the aircraft was well within its operational lifespan. But this fact raises another crucial question. Did the plane's age contribute to the disaster? Dr. Sonia Brown, a senior lecturer in aerospace design, pointed out that even modern aircraft require rigorous maintenance to ensure they remain safe over time. While the Dreamliner is known for its advanced technology, 11 years is not an insignificant amount of time for wear and tear. The plane may have been subjected to countless cycles of takeoffs, landings, and stress, which could have affected its performance. Could the lack of sufficient maintenance have been a factor? It's possible that small, unnoticed issues accumulated over time, ultimately leading to a catastrophic failure. The combination of age, maintenance, and unforeseen mechanical failures could be a deadly recipe. This theory, though still unproven, adds a layer of complexity to the investigation, suggesting that time itself may have played a role. Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you. Whistleblower's warning. Ignored? The investigation into the Ahmedabad crash has uncovered troubling warnings about the aircraft's manufacturer, Boeing. In 2024, an engineer and former Boeing employee, Sam Salahpour, filed a formal complaint with the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, about serious flaws in the 787 Dreamliner's production.
I have analyzed Boeing's own data to conclude that the company is taking manufacturing shortcuts on the 787 program.
He claimed Boeing had rushed the manufacturing process, skipping over crucial safety checks, particularly concerning small gaps in the fuselage. These gaps, according to Salahpour, added pressure to the plane's structure during flight, which could result in catastrophic failures over time. This alarming claim raises questions about Boeing's practices and whether these defects contributed to the crash. Whistleblower testimony suggests that the company's efforts to meet production deadlines led to unsafe shortcuts in manufacturing, potentially compromising the structural integrity of the aircraft. Despite these warnings, Boeing and the FAA dismissed the concerns, assuring the public that the planes were safe. If Salahpour's claims are proven to be true, it would indicate a grave failure to act on warnings that could have prevented the disaster in Ahmedabad and many others like it. The FAA's troubled history with Boeing. The FAA's involvement in the Boeing 787's production issues isn't a new development. Back in 2021, the FAA and Boeing were forced to halt the delivery of Dreamliners for nearly 2 years. The issue? Potential defects in the plane's fuselage, particularly the small gaps between the aircraft sections that were never properly sealed. While Boeing claimed they had corrected the problem, the fact that the FAA was involved in this investigation signals the gravity of the situation. If the defects were as severe as the whistleblower claims, this could explain why a seemingly reliable plane like the Dreamliner would crash just moments after takeoff. What makes this situation even more concerning is that Boeing continued production under pressure, often rushing workers to assemble parts in unsafe ways. This history of overlooked safety concerns raises questions. Were these ongoing problems a contributing factor to the Ahmedabad crash? If these manufacturing defects are linked to the crash, it could trigger a massive reevaluation of Boeing's safety standards, leading to worldwide scrutiny. Ramesh, the man who lived. Amidst the horror of the Ahmedabad crash, Ramesh Kumar's survival remains nothing short of miraculous. Seated in 11A, he was traveling alone, while his brother sat in a different row. As the plane plummeted to the ground, Ramesh's fate seemed sealed, but against all odds, he emerged from the wreckage alive. While the crash took the lives of many, Ramesh somehow walked away with injuries that doctors describe as relatively minor. He recalls hearing a loud noise just after takeoff, but the full extent of the crash is still a blur. As the sole survivor, Ramesh has been thrust into the spotlight, with many calling his survival a divine act. However, what remains unclear is the series of events that allowed him to endure such a deadly incident. His strength and determination throughout his recovery have inspired many, but his memories of that fateful day remain fragmented. His brother, who was seated in a different part of the plane, is still unaccounted for. For Ramesh, the journey to uncover the truth about the crash continues. Midair Exit myth and conspiracy. After the crash, a theory quickly spread on social media that a passenger had opened the emergency exit mid-air, causing the plane to plummet. The idea gained traction when footage surfaced showing a figure near the emergency exit, sparking speculation that someone might have contributed to the disaster by attempting to escape. However, Ramesh Kumar, the only survivor, strongly denied these claims. In his statement to the police, he confirmed that neither he nor anyone else opened the emergency exit during the flight. This myth surrounding the emergency exit ignited a wave of conspiracies. Some blamed the airline, while others suggested a cover-up by the authorities. In a situation filled with uncertainty, rumors quickly overshadowed the facts. Despite Ramesh's denial and the police confirming that no one tampered with the exit, the conspiracy theory continued to gain momentum. This highlights how conspiracy theories often flourish when definitive answers are lacking. As the investigation progresses, it's clear that the focus should remain on uncovering the true cause of the crash, rather than on unproven speculations. Boeing under fire worldwide. The Ahmedabad crash has reignited global concerns over Boeing, particularly regarding the safety of its 787 Dreamliner. Following the incident, reports revealed that Boeing had faced significant criticism for years. Whistleblowers raised alarms about the company cutting corners in production, prioritizing quick turnarounds over safety. Sam Salapur, a former Boeing engineer, warned of manufacturing flaws in the Dreamliner, highlighting shortcuts taken in assembling crucial parts. These defects could contribute to systemic issues that may lead to catastrophic failures. The question remains, did Boeing's manufacturing practices play a role in the crash? Aviation authorities worldwide are reviewing Boeing fleets to determine if production flaws contributed to the crash. If linked, stricter regulations could follow, damaging Boeing's reputation. As the investigation unfolds, accountability and safety remain critical, with Ramesh Kumar's survival reminding us of the need for justice for the victims.